Welcome to Bubba/Chat. Jason, hi.
Hi.
How are you?
It's like
What
a
is
deer
this, like, yeah, once bitten, twice shy.
It's a good song. Is it?
That's
a bad song.
That's a great segue into our discussion here on Respectable. Oh, just kidding. So we're talking about elder qualifications, right?
Yes, we are. I'm sorry.
Yes. Why are we
It's
talking
like
about
a blunder? I'm so sorry.
It's such a perfect blunder.
I know. It's like the
It works
worst segue.
so well, yes.
We covered the desire. We covered above reproach, the umbrella category.
Good.
Husband of one wife is the first one after that.
Yep.
And then last time we talked about the family issue, keeping children under control, having children who are faithful. And then with that, we want to put a few together that are related.
Yeah.
Right? In 1 Timothy 3, they're called temperate, prudent, respectable, and then sensible in Titus.
Yeah.
Right? I think it goes with prudent.
Yeah.
So what are those categories?
Yeah,
like
good.
those are kind of like even in English, you're like, it can mean a lot of things.
Yeah.
So what's Timothy? What's Paul getting at?
Yeah.
In each of those?
So I think so the first two that we did were family related.
Right.
Right. You have wife,
marriage.
children, and this one is more like just general character of the guy.
Okay.
And like you said, the words sort of blend together. A lot of the definitions blend together.
Yeah,
It's tricky to kind of peel them all apart.
Yeah.
What I'm going to do is take temperate and attach it with the whole addiction to wine thing that he's going to bring up later.
Yep.
And so what we're going to do is just split out prudent, sensible, and respectable.
Okay.
Prudent and respectable both come from 1 Timothy 3:2, and sensible is actually picked up in Titus 1:8.
It is.
It's actually the same word that Paul uses that's translated prudent in 1 Timothy 3.
Oh, okay.
We're actually just going to cover two words, kind of bring them together, even though there's maybe three qualifications that stick together.
Of course. Okay.
Okay, so I think initially what you said is important. The definitions of these blend together. And I think that's maybe Paul's point.
On his point,
right? He's trying to paint a picture of a guy's life, and he's putting up a whole bunch of descriptions, but if you put them all together, in one sense, they kind of all mean the same thing in a way.
Of course.
And so just even taking these three that we're going to talk about, prudent, sensible, and respectable. Prudent comes from the Greek word that means to behave in a sensible way, to be moderate in one's behavior.
Okay.
To essentially like to live like according to moderation, knowledge, peace, that sort of thought.
Okay.
So prudent, sensible that way.
Okay.
A thoughtful, self-controlled life.
Okay.
That's what he's getting at there. The word respectable, it just means to be well-ordered.
Okay.
It comes from a Greek word that's kosmios, which is where we get the word cosmetics. When you put on your makeup, right, as a female, you're putting your face on, you're putting yourself together, and that's the same idea. It's also where we get the word cosmos, like the world, the universe is ordered. So everything is orderly.
Okay.
And so what he's saying with that one is a guy whose life is orderly. It's in order.
Yeah.
Everything is more or less in place.
Yeah.
So what's the qualifications here? How do these fit together? Well, the one is like living according to wisdom, thoughtful, self-controlled.
Okay.
Which then produces a life of orderliness. Yeah. So you take those two together, and it's like a guy whose brain is engaged, who's functioning in such a way that his life is orderly. Yeah. Like you look at his life, and there's nothing. It's not just chaotic everywhere. And never really knowing what to do, and always having some plan, never really finishing anything, always kind of lost.
Yeah.
Not getting tasks done on time. That sort of life.
Yeah.
Even like you said, the car last time. In the
Yeah,
last
yeah,
video,
yeah.
We had a professor who said, if your car's a train wreck, you're not an orderly person. You can't run the Church of God, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, I think there's a sense where that's true.
Right.
So a guy who's living in such a way with his mind in such a prudent and sensible way that his life is functionally orderly. In the way that it's being expressed. Right? So why are these qualifications?
That's the question, right?
That's always the question. Why does Paul put these as qualifications? I think the answer is it's a sign of maturity at the end of the day, right? Prudence, sensibility, the ability to like look at life, live life in a wise and sensible way.
Yeah.
And then having that produce order in the life is actually a sign of a guy who's mature. He's mature enough to live his life. He's under control in himself. Yeah. Now, there are a lot of people who are type A people who are not believers who appear to meet these qualifications. And so we want to be very cautious here. This is not like
a certain personality type.
Yeah, certain personality type.
Okay.
I'm an excellent scheduler. I'm a clean freak. It's not that. Actually, those are the other way. That makes you intemperate. If you're, imprudent.
Because you're perfectionistic.
Perfectionistic in those ways.
Okay.
So what he's talking about here is a spirit-led, spirit-filled life that is in order in such a way that tasks get done, things are finished. There's an awareness of gradation of tasks, right? Like so, the guy is aware that it's more important to have this relationship than it is to have a perfectly clean house and those kinds of things. So. His life is ordered in such a way that he's able to live his life spiritually according to the work of Christ in his heart.
So these are spirit manifestations, if you will. Like this is not like you said, Enneagram, Myers-Briggs, type A, type B. These are not just like he just gets things done.
Right.
He's an elder. No.
No.
We don't want to say that.
It's dangerous, right?
Yeah. Of course, getting things done is good.
Yeah, exactly.
But that can also be bad because what if it's not attached with character, right?
Right,
it's like he's just driving people.
And a person who's that way, like a COO type, who's like, we're going to make things happen, we're going to get it done.
All CEOs are like that?
Well, no, but I think by and large, gifting in the world, right?
No, I'm just
There's
kidding.
certain character of people, and which is not bad, that's a gift.
Yeah.
But it's not the ability to do that.
Right.
It's the Spirit-filled ability to look at his life and live in such a way that he sensibly orders things around the glory of Christ.
Amen.
Which is the issue.
Yeah.
So that the glory of Christ is actually the center.
Yeah.
Maybe for a season his car isn't very clean because he's living for the glory of Christ.
Of course.
For a moment he hasn't had time to take the car to get it cleaned up.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean he's not going to go and do that later.
That's nothing to do.
That's not the issue. But the point is, like, he's living his life in a wise way, in a prudent way, so that Jesus is at the center of his life.
Amen.
Everything orbits him.
Yeah.
And then that orderliness that's around Christ is evident in his life.
And people look at it and say, he's a respectable man.
Yeah, he's so respectable. His life's in order. He's got Christ at the center. You can see it.
Of course.
And he's always caring for things in a right way.
Because the thing is, if you have someone come into the church and go, like, that guy's an elder? Like, you don't want that.
Yeah.
And I mean, of course, there can always be false accusations or, misjudgments, but, like, over time. And if someone's like, wow, his life has a lot of loose ends and it's sort of all over the place.
And there's chaos everywhere,
like odd decisions all the time. Yeah. And again, this is a continual thing, a characteristic issue, right? These words are not like, one point in time he was intemperate. So we want to be careful about that.
But. Yeah, and everyone makes imprudent decisions. Everyone at times struggles with maybe thinking sensibly. If you're not necessarily walking in the Spirit, you're not walking with the glory of Christ at the center of your heart, you're not making sensible judgments on something.
Yeah.
But I think it is a trajectory of life where the man is Christ-centric, and so his life is led for Christ, and that drives him toward good decision making. It drives him toward wisdom. It drives him towards stability in his life, so that Christ is honored and exalted.
I think that's so important because we're not saying just naturally clear thinking. Because there is something there that's natural, but this is ultimately driven by Christ.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, and you can see that. I think you got a guy who's driven by the glory of Christ. For example, he's gonna make it work to do family worship times with his kids.
Okay.
There's gonna be stability in his life in various ways. He's not gonna be like, oh, we just once in a while, blah, 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 like all the craziness, like whatever's coming into his mind, he's just like, flipping back and forth in different things. There's just that stability of life that's driven by Christ ultimately, and that will order everything behind it.
Which I think ties in so well with children, keeping them under control, right? Yeah. That's like a respectable, sensible man will have that, I think.
Well, kids that, because he knows the
even
priority
if he's not an elder.
Even if he's not an elder, he'll know the priority of that.
Okay.
And it's interesting, similar words used for deacons, right? So you have the same idea, like orderliness characterizes this person.
Yeah. So for church leaders, super important,
but
also important for all believers.
Yeah, totally.
And it's a spiritual characteristic. We're not talking about just some natural ability to organize things.
Yeah, because you might say, and this kind of is a last little follow-up statement here. Maybe you have a guy who says, well, I'm not by nature a very organized person. I mean, you know me, right? I'm not a very organized person by nature. I'm not administratively gifted in any way.
That's fair.
At all. That's fair.
I'm just moving the discussion forward.
That's fair.
And being sensible.
So rude. No, I'm just kidding. You're fired. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, so
So I'm not necessarily naturally gifted that way. And so, I mean, if I'm going to have a weakness, these areas are going to be it.
Okay.
And that's where, we can say, look, I need to grow in this.
Okay.
But how do we grow? And the answer is, be Christ-centered, right? If Christ's glory is at the center of my life, I'm going to do whatever I can to try to, even though I'm weak in those areas, I want to grow in them so that Christ is honored in my life, right? And not because I want to be an elder or I like maintain position or those things, but man, Jesus is glorious, and for that reason, I will order my life. I'll do the best I can to be orderly. And even, if you find someone who's more orderly than you are, like for example, my wife is very well organized, instead of saying, I like being disorganized, say, no, she's wise in this. I need to grow in this area. I need to increase in my orderliness and use her abilities and tap into her gifts in order to increase in mine.
I think, very good.
Yeah, makes sense?
That makes perfect sense.
Good.
Thank you.
It's rare, but once in a while. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, well, thank you so much. Hope that's helpful for you. If you have any questions, as always, feel free to email us at info@faithbibleoc.org. Thanks so much.